Welcome to your February 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign first and foremost, and that is because the ascendant sign will be the most accurate for you overall, generally speaking. Having said that, the sun sign horoscope will tell you more about your life goals and your career, whereas the moon sign horoscope will pertain more to your family and your living circumstances. So if you've got time to watch all three, go for it. Now, lastly, before I get into your horoscope, I just wanted to let you know that I still have my 2022 yearly horoscopes available for purchase, so I will leave a link in the description box below. And now let's get into your horoscope. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your February 2022 horoscope. Before I get into your reading today, I'm just going to pull an animal spirit totem card to see what energies will be with you for the month ahead. And we've got the stingray. So if you can see here, we've got all these different colors which represent the chakra system. So this is about you getting back into balance, and this can be with regard to your attitude towards finances. This can see you reconnecting to your creativity, and for many of you this will see you having some kind of spiritual and mental breakthrough, which I will get into later in the reading. Now, on the 1st of February, we're going to see a new moon in Aquarius take place in your first house, and it will be conjunct Saturn. This new moon will actually be making a square to Uranus in Taurus in your 4th house. Saturn and Uranus are the two planets that rule you in astrology, and they are the rulers of this new moon. So given that the new moon is conjunct Saturn in your first house, this indicates that you are going to embark on some sort of new journey or a new chapter in your life. Now, this can see you setting a new goal, but essentially the conjunction to Saturn indicates that a big personal commitment will be required of you, and this is likely to be a long-term commitment or one which is quite laborious in nature. So given that Saturn is connected to career in astrology, this could be connected to a career opportunity, or this could be you dedicating yourself to pursuing a new career. Now, this could see you taking on a new position of leadership, or perhaps you are becoming a boss or self-employed. Now, it doesn't just have to affect you on the career front. For many of you, you may be going through a period of time where there are a lot of new responsibilities and duties that are going to have a very physical impact on you, or they will take up a lot of your time. Now, for some of you, you may go through a period where you have to sacrifice your family time, and this is indicated by the fact that the new moon will be squaring Uranus in your 4th house. Or there may be some sort of change with your living circumstances which could put a little bit of a burden on you, or there may just be more responsibilities that you have around the home. Now, with this square to Uranus in the 4th house, it's highly likely that this new journey or this new chapter that's starting in your life will have some sort of unexpected element to it. Now, another way that this could play out is that you may receive a little bit of pushback from your family, or they could be the ones who are asking you to commit to helping them in some way, shape, or form. Now, on the 9th of February, Mars in Capricorn in your 12th house will make a trine to Uranus in Taurus in your 4th house. Trines are very harmonious and beneficial aspects in astrology, so this will have a very positive impact on you. So some of you may be experiencing some sort of epiphany, or you may have a profound realization which leads to some sort of deep healing or psychological breakthrough. And I'm saying that because the 4th house is connected to our psychological foundations, and Mars in the 12th house, which is a very spiritual house and a very subconscious house, indicates you having a breakthrough. And that is because Mars is able to essentially pierce the veil and get to the root cause of some sort of issue that you have been experiencing. Now, another way that this could play out is that you may uncover or unearth some information about your family or your ancestors or your cultural roots. And I'm saying this because the fourth house in astrology is connected to our family and our ancestry, and Uranus represents divine knowledge and information. So with Mars ruling over your third house, which is connected to communications, this can see you uncovering this information or discovering some long lost information about your family. So perhaps you are happening across a long lost document or a photograph or something which was buried or, like I said, has been lost for a while. Now, another way that this can play out is that you may have the opportunity to spontaneously relocate to a foreign country. And I'm saying that because Uranus is your ruling planet. Uranus is in the fourth house, which represents where you live, and this trine to Mars in the 12th house, which is connected to foreign countries, indicates that you may have this opportunity to up and leave from where you are. What's important to note though is that with the trine aspect, this is something which is either going to be something that you have sought out, or this could be something that you welcome. So essentially it's like a welcome change. Now on the 11th/12th of February, depending where you live in the world, Mercury and Pluto will form a conjunction at 27 degrees in your 12th house. These two planets formed this conjunction at the end of December in 2021 and again at the end of January in 2022. So essentially, this can lead to you having some sort of spiritual breakthrough. So you may experience some sort of breakthrough when it comes to your ability to channel information, or maybe you are connecting to a loved one on the other side, or maybe you are receiving some sort of direct communication from a spirit guide. Now, with the 12th house being connected to spirituality and with Pluto being connected to the occult, things may just click into place when it comes to your spiritual understanding of something or your ability to use divinatory practices to connect to divine information. So essentially, this transit can see you just finally getting it. So this can see some of you having a breakthrough when it comes to knowing how to analyze your birth chart. Or maybe you've been practicing with tarot cards and now you're finally able to divine information from the tarot spread. Now, this conjunction can see you uncovering lost or buried information, and this could be something which was meant to remain a secret. And I'm saying this because the 12th house is connected to that which is hidden. Pluto represents secrets and buried information, and Mercury rules over the 8th house in your chart, which is also connected to secret information. Now, the 12th house in astrology is connected to self-sabotaging behavior. And with Mercury conjunct Pluto, this can see you having some sort of conscious understanding of the self-sabotaging behavior or behaviors that you have been exhibiting. With Mercury ruling over your 5th house, this could be self-sabotaging behaviors with regard to your romantic life, or this could be to do with your relationship with your children. So perhaps you and your child or your children keep butting heads, and maybe previously you've put all of the blame on them or a different set of circumstances, but now with this conjunction, you're actually understanding what your part is to play in the situation. Pluto is connected to addictions, and with Mercury ruling over your 5th house, which is connected to your sex life and gambling and having fun, this can see you understanding how certain activities of that variety or of a recreational sort are basically cutting you off at the knees with regard to your spiritual development and your development in certain intimate relationships. Now, lastly, this can see you discovering information which is going to help you with regard to your fertility or with your pregnancy. And I'm saying that because Pluto is connected to birth and pregnancy. Mercury rules over your 5th house, which is connected to children, and Mercury rules over your 8th house, which is also connected to getting pregnant and giving birth. So essentially, Mercury represents information and our mentality, and this conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn in your 12th house could see you having these breakthroughs or receiving this information via a dream, meditation, or being at a retreat or in some sort of secluded environment where you are able to be really introspective and essentially dig beneath the surface. Now on the 16th of February, we are going to see a full moon take place at 27 degrees in your 7th house, and it's going to be making an exact in conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn in your 12th house. Full moons indicate the ending of a chapter taking place somewhere in our lives, and they also indicate a situation reaching its peak. So given that this is occurring in your 7th house, many of you Aquarians will see the end of a personal relationship taking place. It's important to note that the ruler of this full moon is the sun, and the sun will be in Aquarius in your 1st house. It will actually be together with Saturn and Mercury. So essentially, if you are experiencing the end of a relationship in your life, it is highly likely that this is going to be initiated by you. Now, the nature of this relationship could be romantic, it could be a friendship, or it could be a business partnership. Now, it doesn't just need to be the full end of a relationship. For some of you, this could be the end of a phase or a chapter that you have experienced with another individual. So maybe you are putting a certain period of time in your relationship to bed, and now you're turning over a new leaf. Another way that this can play out is that a promise or a commitment that you made or an obligation that you felt towards another person can basically just come to an end. And I'm saying that because the 7th house does not just represent our one-on-one partnerships and relationships, it also represents these commitments, these vows, and these promises that we make to other people. So it could just be that you had promised to do something for another person, and maybe this was quite taxing on you in a physical way or in an emotional way, and now you're deciding that enough is enough and that you really don't want to be continuing your relationship with another person when you have this thing between you which is quite uncomfortable for you personally. Now, another way that this can play out is that your significant other, for those of you who are in a relationship, could be experiencing a chapter in their life coming to a close, and this could be quite significant. So an example of this could be that your significant other may be finishing up their job, or perhaps they are giving birth. Now, given that this full moon is making an exact in conjunction to Pluto in your 12th house, for many of you, you may be feeling a little bit unsettled or a little bit uncomfortable with whatever situation is taking place in your life. And I'm saying that because in conjunctions indicate there being some sort of distraction or diversion or some sort of like paradoxical feeling where you just sort of don't know how to recalibrate yourself within this situation. So an example of this could be that you may end a relationship with another person, and perhaps this is your decision and you're feeling really good about it and you know that this is the right thing to do, but then in the aftermath or at the time you're feeling like you're questioning things, or perhaps you're not experiencing the relief that you would have anticipated in this situation. Now, just remember that full moons and new moons occur every single month, and the degree to which they impact us will vary depending on your personal birth chart. Now, on the 16th or 17th of February, depending where you live in the world, Venus and Mars will form a conjunction at 16 degrees, almost 17 degrees, in your 12th house. So this can see you starting to work on a new creative project, or maybe you're working on something behind the scenes. And I'm saying this because conjunctions carry the energy of a new moon. They represent starting something new or a new chapter taking place somewhere in our lives. And given that this is occurring in a cardinal sign, this really amplifies the fact that there's this new entrepreneurial and fresh energy coming into your life. So with this occurring in your 12th house, like I said, you may be working on a creative project or something behind the scenes. In terms of the nature of this project, it could involve third house type of things. And I'm saying that because Mars rules over your third house. So this could see you working on a new communications piece or a writing piece, or perhaps you're inventing or innovating some sort of new technology, or maybe you are developing a new app or a new social media program altogether. And I'm saying that because Mars carries engineering capabilities with it. Mars is associated with innovation and problem-solving abilities. So perhaps you are pioneering some sort of new technology. Now, given that Venus rules over your ninth house, maybe you're working on a project which is connected to the tourism industry or to international travel. Because this is in your 12th house, I would expect this to involve a foreign country which is very, very different from where you grew up. Now, another way that this could play out is that you may be working on hosting a retreat, or perhaps you're looking at launching some sort of new Airbnb service. And that is because Venus rules over the fourth house, which represents property. Now, another way that this could play out is that you may be working on something to do with the hospital system or the prison system, and this is indicated by the 12th house itself. Mars rules over your 10th house. So for those of you who are still in the workforce or looking to re-enter the workforce, this indicates that you may be able to have some sort of career success or pursue an industry which is connected to 12th house things. Now, the 12th house in astrology is associated with photography, acting, and the arts. Also, with Mars ruling over your 10th house, which represents your career and your public reputation, this indicates that this new chapter that's starting in your life could have an impact on your career. Maybe you're looking at changing industries and going into a more creative type of work. Now, lastly, with Venus ruling over your fourth house, which is connected to the property industry as well as conservation and farming, maybe you're working on something behind the scenes which is connected to one of those areas. Lastly, though, with this transit, you could actually be collaborating with another person, as indicated by Venus representing relationships and Mars ruling over your third house, which represents networking and communications, and maybe you need to keep this a secret, as indicated by the 12th house. Now, lastly, for the month, on the 24th/25th of February, depending where you live in the world, Mercury in Aquarius in your first house will be making a square to Uranus in Taurus in your fourth house. So with this transit involving your ruling planet, and with Mercury being in your first house, this is likely to have a very, very tangible impact on your life. So if you cast your mind back to when Mercury was retrograde in Aquarius back in January 2022, this will have a very similar vibe. So essentially, this can pose some sort of mix-up or issues with regard to your property. And I'm saying that because the fourth house represents your living circumstances. And then we've got Mercury representing tradespeople. So maybe there's a mix-up with the scheduling, or perhaps there's some sort of complication with your contract for your property. So this could be to do with your lease or with buying a property, and essentially maybe there's a mix-up with the dates, maybe documents have gone missing, maybe there needs to be an amendment made to certain documents or certain contracts. And another way that this can play out is that there may just be mix-ups with the agent that you're working with. So this could be a real estate agent, or maybe this is to do with a property manager, or maybe there are people inspecting your residence which you're meant to be vacating and they just rock up unannounced. In some way, shape, or form, this will impact you with regard to your living circumstances. So essentially, there will be some sort of unforeseen circumstance which is unexpected, which affects your property and where you're living. And for some of you, this could just be issues with your modem or with your internet at home, or with appliances in the home, or there could be some sort of short-circuiting situation or a technological breakdown. Now, for some of you, you could be having miscommunications with your family, your flatmates, your significant other, or your children. And I'm saying that because the fourth house represents your family, and Mercury rules over your fifth house, which represents your children and your romantic partner. Now, lastly, this could see you having some sort of change of mind with regard to what you want to do with a situation which involves your family, or with regard to your living circumstances. Maybe you wanted to relocate, now you've changed your mind. Maybe you thought you were happy living where you're living and now you're like, no, I've got to leave. So this could play out on a more psychological level for some of you Aquarians. And so Aquarius, that's all I have for you for February 2022. If you'd like to purchase your 2022 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. Enjoy your month ahead, and I will see you guys next time.